You're watching Past the Wire TV.
Hey, what do you say, everybody? Geo Sette with Past the Wire. Come at you amid the tranquility of this beautiful Tuesday down the Jersey Shore. I want to talk to you about the Preakness and some afterthoughts and some things about handicapping in general, okay? So first, let me give you my thoughts on the Preakness. Obviously, I give congratulations to the coach and the connections to Seize the Gray for what they accomplished. But here's the thing. Going into the race, there are so many contributing factors. All right, and trust me when I say this, as a handicapper, all those contributing factors and much more is taken into consideration. A friend asked me yesterday, that's what made me want to do this recording today. And I told him, I said, you know what? If somebody offered me $500,000 in 10s and 20s to accurately give a precise order of the Preakness, all 8 horses, I told him I'd probably have Seize the Gray 6th to 7th, honestly. So let's break down how I came to my handicap and how so many thousands of others, and specifically many well-known, well-recognized handicappers made arguments for the same 4 horses to win the Preakness. None of them was Seize the Gray. Because that's what it's all about. It's about putting everything into the mix, eventually completing your handicap. So let's go in post-position order. Magatu or Mugatu. You know, he was in the race, 1 for 12 lifetime. This is how the public is sometimes. Pari-mutually, can you believe that horse was 16 to 1 on paper against the field he was facing? He should have went off at post time, respectfully so, somewhere in the area of 60, 70, maybe even 80 to 1. I had him to finish last, and he finished last. That wasn't a major accomplishment, because if you are good at what you do and you value your own handicap, and if you were going to put a precise order, you'd say if there's anybody that's going to finish last, it would be Mugatu or Mugatu. Number 2 is Uncle Heavy. Based on the conditions of the day and IRAD being up, thought that the horse would come running. Fortunately, didn't have much left to make a big punch in a stretch. IRAD added to the appeal, but Uncle Heavy, for the most part, nobody had him to win, at least folks I knew. And I thought he could be a late closing threat to be in the superfecta or your bottom gimmicks because of IRAD. Catching Freedom. Well-trained. Had a body of work that was, you could make a genuine argument that he could be and emerge victorious in the Preakness. I had him for 3rd, and he finished 3rd. That's at least my alignment. I thought he was a contender to win. He actually finished very strong. He ran his race. Only a few in the race ran their race. He ran his race, and he just missed getting 2nd. Catching Freedom got 3rd. But I can understand if handicappers, seasoned handicappers, made an argument for him to win the race. He ran a very comparable race that he's been running leading into the Preakness. We all know Muth scratched, and that changed the race dramatically. I have no doubt in my mind if Muth didn't get that fever, Seize the Gray wouldn't be the winner without a doubt of the Preakness, but we went past that. The 5 Mystic Dan. Now, I handicapped him with respect. I knew he'd appreciate the wet going. However, I thought he was going to take a step back, and that's where I was wrong. He ran a big race. He ran a pretty good race. Connections were there. They were confident. Hernandez gave him a nice ride. But he was a strong second. And I thought he was going to be out of the superfecta. I thought it was a good possibility that he was going to regress, take a step back, and he ran a good race. So, I can understand why many handicappers made an argument for Mystic Dan to even win the race. He was right there. Seize de Grey, the winner. Now, listen, I watched all his races, and, when he won that maiden race at Saratoga in the wet, it was pretty impressive. It was a sprint. He traveled well. He raced at many, many racetracks. But you know what? Overall, it all led to his effort in the Pate Mile, which was a strong effort. He won. There's a reason why he was 9-10-1 that day. And Torres, he's a young, talented jock, but he's not in the category of many of the jocks in the race. And when you break it all down, there wasn't any, in my opinion, competent reason to be decisive with Seize de Grey in your handicap. And this is with great respect for all handicappers, but you couldn't dismiss the others and say, hey, with confidence, this is who I like to win the race. It was a surprise. He took to the track. He was proven in the wet. It is the son of Arrogate. However, many contributing factors led to him being victorious. Obviously, and we're going to get into the next three horses, and I'll conclude with that. Just Steel, Lucas's other horse, he ended up being injured during the run, but I felt like he was in a position where he was used up, meaning he ran too many races, and I thought he just needed a layoff. So he was in the bottom of my handicap as well. But you know one thing? He had more credentials, more to lean on to potentially be a winner here in the Preakness. Not his stablemate. That was Just Steel. Rosario was on him. Just didn't have any run, and you could see that he wasn't right. They finished out of the money. Tuscan Gold. We all know Chad Brown's history with his preparation, and stories around horses like cloud computing and early voting, skipping the Kentucky Derby, heading for the Preakness. Horse was training sensationally. He had a confident rider on him. Quality races, ran a big number in Louisiana Derby. Again, didn't take to the track. But the argument in terms of completing your handicap, you couldn't, in my opinion, be confident with selecting a horse like Seize de Grey over Tuscan Gold. It just didn't make any sense, regardless of what the parimutuel board was reading. That's the public. I mean, like I said, they made Mugatu 16-1 on a race where he should have been 80-1. The public makes the odds. But Tuscan Gold just didn't have it. He didn't take to the surface. Wasn't full of run. Had no pace. And we know the result. He finished fourth. He just passed some tiring horses. And it leads us to Imagination. Now, by the way, myself and many handicappers who I respect greatly were on both Imagination and Tuscan Gold. And there were many that, and I can appreciate why they would like Catch and Freedom and why they like Mystic Dan. Those four, you can make a strong argument to emerge victorious in the Preakness. So Imagination, obviously, he had 6 races where he was not only was he up on the pace, but he was aggressive, and he took his lead, or him being very close to the lead, all the way into deep stretch. I mean, 6 for 6 in exactas, albeit great, all on the West Coast, smaller fields. This wasn't a gigantic field in the Preakness, but, he had the numbers to support. He had a world-class jockey on him to support the fact that if he took to the track, and his pedigree suggested it, that he would not only be on the lead and maybe control the pace and actually do what Seize de Grey ended up doing, And it made me think back in 2013 when Lukas had Oxbow, and Oxbow pulled it off on the lead. But he had a world-class rider and Gary Stevens on him. And the dynamic of the race his speed was just suitable for that. Seize the Gray had nice gate speed, but he wasn't a speed ball. Everything just worked Seize the Gray's way. He needed to run his race. The kid was on the lead. He didn't have a speck of mud on him. He needed to run his race, and the others needed to falter. And that's why I believe Seize the Gray emerged victorious in the Preakness. All due respect to Lukas, God bless him, 88 years old. But those are the contributing factors. So as a handicapper in grade 1, grade 2s, my goal is to be successful 65, 70% of the time. No one could be 100%. And you know what? Hold on. I'll warm out. I'm a horse player. So I play every level of racing, whether it's maiden claimers, maiden special weight, low-level claimers, open company, state-bred races, into allowance races, optional claimers, non-graded stakes races, all distances, the dirt and the turf. And of course, we have grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, big-time races, all right? Some are big fields, some are smaller fields. We know about the Triple Crown. We know about the big races at Saratoga and in the fall when we lead towards the Breeders' Cup. I approach every race the same way. But you know what? I'm a gambler. I'm a horse player, and I like to challenge myself. So if there's like for example, on the Friday before the Preakness, Black-Eyed Susan Day, 14 races. I handicap all 14 races. And my goal was to be successful. Remember, many of them are non-stakes. Just to let you know what my goals are. On a full card, if there's 9 or 10 races, I expect to have 4 winners on top. I'm a 40% guy overall. But in graded 1, grade 2 races, high-level races, and by the way, that's a very, very high percentage for any handicapper who takes pride in his work, all right? Can't win every race. And then how you structure your bets are essentially important, right? I mean, in the dinner party, for example, Balanikov, the 3, I loved him. I shared it with you guys. Frankie Dettorian for Phil D'Amato. He wins. He pays, what, $13? Yeah, I had win money on him, but I lost my exotics because one horse got in the way of my exacta, my triple, and my superfecta. I didn't use them. Those are losing tickets. So on the win end is one thing. On the exotic end is another. How you structure your tickets, how deep you go in your multi-race wagering. You play daily doubles, exactas, pick 3s, pick 4s. But when you're doing your handicap, it's a process of elimination. Sorry if I'm squatting the flies out here in nature or the little insects that are now forming here on the Jersey Shore. But, you know, I'm looking forward to the Belmont, as I am throughout the racing year. But, you know, sometimes you see folks online, where you present, the options, and you're somebody like me that share your handicap, and obviously you can't win all the time. But if you're good at what you do and you take pride in what you do, and your approach is thorough, yeah, you can be successful, as we've proven at Past the Wire. And I've been doing this for many, many, many years. And I've learned from mistakes. And you know what I still do? I don't skip races. If I'm out for a day at the racetrack, or if I know I'm betting a card, I just want to challenge myself by handicapping each race and then being decisive in my approach. Like I said, all races in total, every level, every surface, every track, I expect to successfully pick a winner 35 to 40% of the time. And I've done it for a very, very long time. If I have a day where I'm 0 for 10, and another day where I'm 1 for 10, I'm 1 for 20, inevitably it's going to even out. I'm going to have 6 winners in a day, and so on. Now, exactas, triples, being cold as your exacta, because there's so many contributing factors that happen during the race. What kind of a break? What kind of a trip? How was the pace? What was the track condition? Did you get unlucky in the race? Was there room or lack of room? My God, I could sit here for hours and talk to you about the scenarios, and you know them. You know them all too well. But, you know, hey, I stood grounded to my handicap in the Preakness. It's who I liked, and I appreciated other handicaps. But to come up with C's de Grey in that field under those circumstances, you had to be a lover of the number 6, have a gut feeling about Lukas winning because he's 88 years old, or hoping that things go wrong for many of the other starters. And that's what happened. So anyway, congratulations to those that were successful with the Preakness. I'm looking forward to the Belmont. We appreciate all you do and your participation with us at Past the Wire. You know, we're a team that we thrive on our own experiences, and, you know, we like sharing our gift with you and to put you in a position to be more successful at the windows. That's what it's all about, all right? So you guys have a great day. Enjoy this beautiful weather that's starting to surface, and we'll see you at the Belmont Stakes. And if you have any questions or thoughts, please don't hesitate. You know, type it out, ask me a question, and God bless you. God bless your families, and I'll talk to you real soon.
Nobody does it better.